Now we will discuss the use of low temperature for preservation of food, as we earlier discussed the use of high temperature. So in case of chilling, you would use temperature from 1 degree C to 8 degree C. This is the low temperature that is normally used to store food. And this low temperature would be reducing the biochemical microbiological changes in the food that takes place, and by controlling these factors we can extend the shelf life of food. Unlike the heating operations, this cooling or low temperature would be having minimal effect on the quality of food and its nutritional characteristics. That's why this is more desirable in terms of maintaining the quality and nutritional value of food. If you look at the use of chilling for fresh food, it can reduce the effect of enzymatic activity, effect of microbial changes that takes place, and the respiration rate of food. These all factors are actually controlled in a way that the fresh food would have longer shelf life, and they would be more useful, they would have more nutritional value. Normally that the factor that affect the shelf life of fresh crops in field, which are chilled, the factors that affect are the type of food and the variety of food that we are talking about. The part of the crop selected, which is for example, if the crop, the part of the crop which grows faster, it would have higher metabolic rate. So then that would be having shorter shelf life. So we need to consider these things, that what is the variety or the cultivar of the food, and what is the part of the food that is actually chilled and stored at low temperature. It also depends upon the condition of harvest of food. For example, it is always desirable to harvest food in a lower temperature or remove the field heat once the foods are fruits or vegetables or any other field crops are harvested. The temperature must be brought down to a lower temperature. Other conditions such as the temperature of harvest, the temperature of storage, distribution, the retail display, temperature of these products, they all determine the quality of the fresh product and the shelf life of the fresh product. Another important factor is the relative humidity of the storage atmosphere, because that would be affecting on the dehydration. So higher is the relative humidity, slower would be the dehydration process. So that would mean the quality of food can be maintained in case of fresh foods for a longer time, because there would be less wilting or dehydration that would take place. There's a system called as cook chill system, which is used for many foods. For example, these roast meats or complete meals, they have to be they must go under through this system, which is called as cook chill or cook pasteurized chill process. Normally food can be cooked and it should be immediately chilled, and it should be stored at a lower temperature. That would increase the shelf life, that would maintain the quality of this food, and the risk of microbial contamination or the growth of microorganisms would be reduced. Now these food can be classified into 4 different classes depending upon the risk that they pose to the end user or consumer of these foods. Cook chill system, the class 1 for this system is actually it consists of food which are that has got raw or uncooked ingredients such as salad and cheese or ready to eat foods. These also include meat and fish, etc. So this is called as class 1. This has got higher chances of contamination, risks are higher. Then there is a second class, class 2. This includes the product made from mixtures of cooked and raw materials, but these are the low risk ingredients that are involved in this class, so there will be lesser risks involved. Then we have class 3 in this system that includes the cooked foods. Then these cooked foods are packaged, so this is called as class 3. The class 4 consists of products that are cooked after packaging, and this would be including ready to eat products for extended durability. These are called as ref feds in short, that would stand up for the ready to eat products for extended durability, and they would have a normal shelf life of more than 40 days. So these four classes are designed according to the level of how they affect the consumer at the end, or the safety levels. We use mechanical refrigerators for chilling operations or use of low temperature. All the refrigerator would have these four components: an evaporator, a compressor, a condenser, and expansion valve. They all, because there has to be a coolant use within these refrigeration, so this has to be reused all the time. So we go for evaporation, compression, condensation, and then expansion valves. These are all four elements. They must be considered for all the refrigeration systems. We normally use copper material for these all these operations, because copper has got very good heat transfer rates, so food can be quickly brought down to a lower temperature. There is another technique called as cryogenic refrigerators or cryogens. Cryogens can remove the latent heat from food in a very quick fashion. For example, this carbon dioxide and liquid nitrogen, they are used to quickly remove latent heat from food, and the food becomes it gets lower down its temperature in a very quick fashion. It is also important whenever we have to store the food. For example, as you look in case of superstores, mostly the food has to be stored in the larger cooling systems, where we need to consider the circulation of air, temperature, relative humidity, and other atmospheric compositions. They are important to be considered for maintaining such systems, and the food must be stacked in a way that they facilitate the removal of moisture within or removal of heat within these tracks or stacks, so that the food is retained at a lower temperature. If you look at the effect of chilling on food, if the food has been stored at a correct temperature, there would be much more there would not be any losses, or the food would be in a very good condition. There would be less nutritional losses in the food, there would be less quality losses in the food, and the sensory characteristics would be maintained. So that is why probably this low temperature usage in preservation of food is more desirable, because it would not be affecting the quality or the safety of food, and it would be more gentle treatment for preservation of food.